Hello and welcome to How Do You Not Know This, the show where we talk about the things you really should know about but might not know about, things that everybody around you knows. Have you ever been at a dinner party and everybody's talking about something political and you're just quiet because you have no idea what that word means? Everyone's been there, and the person to my left has been there way more often than most people.
It's me.
Dom Hatton-Woods,
Hey.
comedian who on occasion would open for me when
What do you mean on
I'm
occasion?
touring.
All of them, really?
Half of them.
Half of them.
Half of them.
That's not occasional.
Okay.
Come on, guys.
He opened for half of my tour shows,
That's more
but
like-
on the rides to the shows, he would often express bewilderment at me talking about things that I thought everybody knows about. Hence, me roping in Tony Vino, the comedian to my left, to help me school Dom Hatton-Woods on things he and you listening or watching should all really not know this. How do you not know this? Enjoy it. Follow, subscribe, share. Because this is a brilliant podcast. We don't have enough listeners. So do your part. Also, if you love it, put a 5-star review. If you hate it, just fuck off.
After you put a 5-star review.
We don't need the back.
Yeah,
We don't need criticism. They always say constructive criticism. There's no such thing.
No, that's it.
Just-
Just
just-
send
Oh,
it
there
to
is.
someone you don't like.
That's it. Send
you
it to someone you don't like.
So I've got some stuff going on. I got the bus on Saturday. Well, 11
Wow.
p.m.
Is it that your
This
family is so posh that this is new to
This
you?
is
No,
like-
no, I mean,
got the
it's like-
I'm going somewhere with this.
You want to travel
No, I mean,
like
I got
common people.
Yes, we always used to take horse and carriage, but I took a bus.
the night bus from
Oh, the
11
night
p.m.
bus,
till
the night
6 a.m.
bus. Okay.
But there's an
Man-
old joke.
London
I
to
took
Manchester.
the night bus. It was a nightmare. I had to drop everyone off before.
But what happened on
Yeah,
your
go
bus
on.
journey?
Well, I met a lady
Oh, on a
that
bus.
had been on Love Island.
Interesting. Did you recognize her, or
No,
did it just come
she-
up in the chat?
She was waiting for the toilet, and so you stop off in Birmingham.
But
for-
wait,
for a
just
bit.
to say how the mighty have fallen, right?
What do you mean?
From like mini
Yeah.
celebrity on Love Island
Island.
to being on the late night bus.
With this guy pestering you
Was this
outside a toilet.
I feel like this could be the arc my career is on, right? I was on a reality show. In 2 years, I'll be on a night bus.
This is it. If they're going to film like a biography of your life, we've got you. Let's say age 50. The National Express to Birmingham.
Well, she was we stop off in Birmingham. I
Yeah.
went to get a kebab, and then
You'd already spoken at this point.
no, I went
at
to
the
go to the
kebab.
toilet. I'd clocked her. Well, she's nice. I went to the toilet, and then she was waiting for the toilet, and I went, "You have to pay." And I went, "You just pull it towards you. You can kind of squeeze through." And she went, "Oh, thanks." And then
You little smoothie.
I know,
Look at that.
well, saved her 30p.
Impressed her by your cheapskate nature. Let's fuck the man together.
And then and then we were waiting to get back on. She goes, "What's going on?" I don't know, because we were like showing our tickets again to get back on.
Yeah.
And then we spoke, and then we sat next to each other. And then I walked her to where she needed
And
to
that's
go.
where she revealed she was a Love Island.
Why?
contestant.
I said, "What are you going to Manchester for?" She went, "Oh, just an influencer thing." And I was like, "Oh, right." And then I went, "Well, what?" She went on a date.
And she knows you're a influencer too.
No, she didn't know that. She didn't
Okay.
know who I was. And then
No, but I'm saying, did you reveal it?
I told her I was a comic, and then
Okay.
said I've done some. And then she went on a dating show, and what one? She went Love Island, and I thought you clearly didn't enjoy Love Island, because if you enjoyed Love Island, you'd be like, "I went on Love Island."
Yeah.
You'd say that straight out the gate.
You said that.
Huh?
You said that. To
No,
me.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you just thought that. You just thought
I
that.
went, all right, that's cool, because I didn't know who she was.
Are you going to see her again? Or
I messaged her, she didn't reply, but she's been on Love Island. She doesn't need me, does she?
Yeah.
message again? Suggest you influence together.
Perhaps you
a
could
good
meet
idea.
up on like the Isle of Wight or something like that. If she likes little islands, maybe
That is
maybe
Hey,
that is
Island.
Jersey.
Divorce Island. I would watch Divorce Island, actually.
It's good, yeah.
You get couples 10 years later, right, who hate each other's guts, and they're forced to be in each other's presence.
Yeah.
Each of the rounds is like, in round number 1, you have got to entertain the child who
And you also put them somewhere really cold and dreary, like
Cold and dreary.
Southport Pontins. Right, see how you get on.
round
there.
number 2, you need to meet their new ex and not get punched in the face.
So I met her. She's not replying to me. She's been on Love Island.
Nah, give it another shot.
Nah. It's all right.
Okay.
And then, so that happened, and then, I probably could do with asking you some advice, actually, in a sense. So I was in London at the gig, sat at the back of the room. Some guy comes up to me. Oh, it's you.
Yeah.
I've seen you on TikTok.
Yeah.
And then he goes, can I get a picture of you, me and my girl? She'll be really jealous. I went, yeah, man, of course. Anyway, I was like, that's nice. That was
nice.
That was an enjoyable thing. And then I went on stage, and he's in the front row.
Yeah.
And I hated it. It felt like having a girl I'd had sex with.
No. So
the
you
front
just don't look at them.
Why?
You don't look at the person who you've interacted with because it shuts down your comedy brain. So you look everywhere else around.
Mm.
And then the other thing you do is, if you do have to look at them, you look at their forehead. You don't look in their eyes.
Do you get...
It's like with anyone you know, really.
You've never had this happen.
But like, if you know, like, if you have, I've had it where, like, friends and even my wife, when you're familiar with someone,
It shuts down the brain.
It
shuts
down the one-on-one relationship. You're speaking to the group as a whole.
But how did you do it? I remember when we did Greenbelt, they all knew you.
They all still became
did you
part
just
of the whole? Yeah.
So you wouldn't really think of them as...
Think of individuals, just like freaking... You got to keep them together.
It was just weird, and then... Yeah, and then I was
Or
like...
the other thing you do is you call attention to it.
No, I think that sounds... I'm not well known enough for that.
No. You put that into it.
Say what?
You say, like, I've never been recognized, and this guy recognized me.
Yeah.
That's really endearing to the crowd.
Right, okay.
Right? So this is what I'm saying. Whatever's going on, you just talk about it, and there's something funny about it. Like, I wish it was your girlfriend, actually. I don't want to sign your tits, but hers are quite lovely. Do you know what I mean? Like something like that. You just make it part of the show.
Self-deprecatory, I've been wanting to become an influencer, and basically it's just this guy. It's like, oh great.
One guy.
Right, okay, that's helpful.
But
surely you get used to it, no?
you get used to it.
Because when you do a tour, they're all that, aren't they?
Yes, but at the same time, it's like, this is what I'm saying. You don't look in their eyes if they're, you just look around at their foreheads. They're anonymous.
Because he was literally from me to that chair away.
And also, this is just a tip to any comedians watching. I'm going to throw him under the bus, but why not? There's a comedian called Dave Twentyman.
Yeah.
I did a show in Chester with him. He was on stage and he delivered the entire set towards a woman's cleavage. You don't know you're doing it. I'm sure it's just like pulled like a magnet. Yeah, but
he was in a tractor beam. He was just like, I can't.
But because the stage is high, everybody could see exactly what's...
Did you tell him?
No, I didn't. He didn't need that drama.
I'm going to send this to him.
Yeah, it's fine. He would admit it. He's
So yeah, that's yours. That's it for me.
I wrote the beginning of my next novel this morning. I feel so invigorated, so exhilarated. Why don't I write 2,000 words every day? I would always feel like a success.
But that's the beauty of it, because you did it, because like although you did it in 4 hours, there's something about it's everything leading up to that moment.
No, but I used to write a lot more. And then you start getting jaded. You start seeing the lack of success.
Yeah.
And you start being like,
what's the point?
What's the point?
Who's reading this?
But the actual thing is, the point is for yourself.
Yeah.
What's really inspiring to me, there's an author, Brandon Sanderson. He's the world's biggest fantasy author. Yeah. He wrote 12 books before his 13th book was accepted.
Really?
Yeah. It is amazing, that, isn't it? It is amazing. So so sandwiched with the weekend, a lot of travel. Last week was in Egypt. This weekend I ran a men's retreat, right? You know, I do it once a year.
Go on. It's too much for me. I can't do it.
12
too much what?
He crawls and they cry and
get
stuff.
him out into the
Dual
nature.
kiss.
We get him sit. Nobody kisses. There's a bit of hugging, but like I basically I do stories.
No phones.
All weekends. When we get guys together and do these sharing circles, the phones get put away, but just for a time, for an hour here, an hour there. I tell stories, doing all sorts of fairy tales and myths and Arthurian legends.
He's the positive Andrew Tate.
I get them out into nature. I get them sitting down for 3 hours. They sat for 3 hours.
And did what?
That's all you got to do. Just sit down.
Meditate.
There's an old saying that says, all the problems of the world would be solved if people could just learn to sit and be silent. podcasts.
This is very true.
And so
Very
just
good.
get them out into nature. Just whatever comes from, they can journal, no phones. So
I'll tell you the truth. As much as it's too hippie for me, I think it's wonderful.
Oh, it's
Where,
great.
where was it?
It was out in Bronte country.
You are healing people.
Haworth.
You're healing people because men are all locked up.
Well, genuine, on a serious note, like suicide is the biggest killer of men under 50. Biggest killer of men. I mean, it's like loneliness and isolation.
Over 50.
And over 50, just take your pick.
Take-
It's like between 50 and 70, and then after 70, it just goes prostate.
prostate.
Good night.
Yeah.
But yeah. So did that this weekend. Next weekend, and then I go to Cyprus, stay after tomorrow, doing a show, and then on Saturday coming. This is. I hope my dad. Let's not put this out this week because it's my dad's 80th birthday. So we're going out for a
fantastic.
surprise.
He's
He
not
lives
watching.
in Malaga, so we're gonna. All the family. We're all gonna go and visit him in Malaga. What was that?
I said he's not watching it.
You don't know that.
Do you reckon he watches?
you know
Family is a very high chance of watching.
He's probably our one Patreon.
Like, I guarantee you, like anytime, like if my mom comes across, she'll listen to it. Like there's no. That's your biggest fan usually.
Well, we need more
But
family.
you have a
then.
very dysfunctional family,
I'd
so you
like to
don't
think-
understand that.
The thing is,
I mean, no, your dad's dysfunctional, but your mom's supportive, right?
She's not listening.
Come
to
on,
this.
but I'd like to think. My dad's probably not listening because he doesn't go on the internet much. But as in, if he was doom scrolling, I'd like to think the one thing he'd stop at if he saw me doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I'd like to think, oh no, or then he goes, oh no, look, a cat surfing. Like, Dad, you should stop at that.
How much is this retreat? Do you have to pay for
well,
it?
it's gone now. But it's £150 for the weekend. It's
And you
not
get
a
to
lot.
stay in a hut or something.
The youth hostel, so it was in YHA Haworth, which is up in Bronte country. You heard of Bronte country?
No.
Good.
How far away is
Bronte
it?
Sisters. So it's about an hour and 20 from Manchester. So up in North Yorkshire, Keighley, Haworth, all that.
I should have
area.
done it.
And just so you know, Bronte
been good.
sisters, writers, not porn stars. Okay.
They don't have their own OnlyFans.
You should let me do it.
I'm allowing
Actually,
you
you
to do
would
it,
be
but I'm not
good.
a time lord. It's happened, right?
But next time,
Let's do another one.
It happens every year. You could come next year.
Okay.
That'd be
for sure.
great. And you can learn about about the Bronte sisters as well, like Wuthering Heights and Heathcliff and
which brings us actually to today's episode.
yeah.
Is actually the first thing we're going to talk about was at the request of Dom.
Yeah.
Because where were you? Where you heard this word and you didn't know what it was?
Llandudno. Well, there's a gig in a magic bar. Very odd, don't it?
Yes.
Very strange. Actually, I've got one thing more to say.
Okay.
So this is where my career is at when you're friends with Deliso. Generally, a lot of people use me as a messenger
Oh,
to get, because you don't do many gigs.
I don't.
And some people say, oh, will he do it if you ask him? I'm like, yeah, he probably will. I'll do it if I ask him. Anyway, so I get an email the other day, and in the subject, it's just Deliso. And I thought, I've got a gig. No, I've not. I've got some organising. That's what I've got.
That's all.
I've got some admin.
Yes, but you can include yourself.
I'm already doing it.
Oh, yeah.
So he went, I'm already doing it. So he went, can you get Deliso? And I said, yeah, I can ask him, yeah.
Where is it?
No, I gave him your I said I gave him
Oh, you
your
gave me-
agents, and then I said, if you want me to ask him, I will.
Yeah, I probably won't do it.
So you probably get that sometimes, don't you?
Well, yeah. People contact Deliso wanting me, and it's pretty
Look,
tough, isn't
I
it?
did I did a
feel for
gig
you in
yesterday. I did a gig yesterday. I showed up. They had 20 people. And I remember thinking, I could have done my own show
Oh man.
and got a lot more. Like, literally.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
put it out
that's why I don't do.
Well, you just read the message, and it goes, gig, £300. You go, fucking great. That's good for me. And then it goes, is Deliso free for this? You go, oh,
Oh,
God.
that's an instant shut
Jangle
down.
it there.
Instant shut
No,
down.
he's not. I'm available. We'll ask someone else.
But-
So I was in Llandudno, and
Yeah.
they give me a curry. Quite a nice curry, actually. Anyway, the other comic comes in and goes, I said, have you been? Have you had your curry? Yeah, I've had my curry. I was walking around, a lot of people about, because it's VE Day. I don't what's that? And then 10 minutes of I said 10 minutes of coming at me for calling me stupid.
Okay,
bless
now
you.
he's already
So he's
told you.
educated
So
it.
to make it more
I
exciting,
googled it.
you googled it, but we've
I've forgotten already.
got 3 things for you, okay?
Right,
And you can't confuse them. There's VA Day,
right.
there's VE Day,
Mm-hmm.
and there's Veterans Day.
Right.
Okay, so the one you came across was VE Day,
Which is victory in
something beginning with E.
E.
Yeah, I would have thought that.
We're in
England,
No, go wider. We're in
We're
Europe.
Yes.
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 Oh, fantastic.
So now we'll be like we're not in Europe anymore, but
So
at
what-
the time,
so it's
Victory in
called
Europe.
Victory in Europe Day in May 1945, 8th of May 1945, because
The war. We won the war.
the Germany surrendered, but it wasn't the full one because the war carried on a little longer.
A little longer.
Who else was fighting? Remember, we've done an episode on the Second World War, and you would learn all this.
German.
No, they were the ones that
Russia.
quit. No, they were on our side.
They're on our side.
Um,
I was trying to give him a hint, but I was like, all the hints are very racist.
what is it? What is it?
No,
Pakistan.
Oh, I've got one. Like,
I don't know why I said Pakistan. America. Because you're doing food. And
I was doing pizza, but you're right.
Italy.
And then who were the other one we weren't who were against us?
This is great.
China.
charades, This
They're like
is
chopsticks. Is that chopsticks?
Yes.
China.
Who else?
Thailand.
Oh, I guess a lot of countries use it.
Lose rice, but no, it's not China or Thailand. It
Okay.
was-
Japan.
Yes. There
Yes.
we go.
Okay.
So the war carried on.
You're a terrible
in
mime
the,
artist.
in the Pacific. and
You
so-
got them right.
Oh.
Yeah, after about 10 I would not do any physical comedy. You're not fucking... What was that guy that didn't talk and did comedy? What was his name?
Charlie Chaplin.
That was the one, yeah.
Do you know the weird thing? Like, so the war it ended like a couple of months later in the east. You know, you had like.
Do you know about there was a Japanese soldier
Oh yeah.
who
the
kept
Remainer.
fighting?
Oh my goodness.
So they said, "Oh, the war is over, we surrender," and there was a guy who didn't believe it. He thought it was a tactic that they were going to trick him.
Yeah.
So he stayed fighting even though the war was over.
Really?
I remember
living in the
I
mountains.
know his name. He was called Hiroo Onoda, right? And he was on like one of these islands, right? And basically, he didn't believe that the war had ended, right? And he had a couple of people with him. One of his mates got killed eventually, but basically carried on for like it was over 20 years, like 20, 30 years, and they basically had to. So there was a guy. The way he got eventually kind of got the thing. There was a young lad went to find because it was like he wanted to go find like mythical creatures. He wanted to go to find the Yeti, and he'd heard about this guy, and he went out into the jungle, found him, and was like, look, the war's ended because they pamphleted him, and he just thought, oh, this is just propaganda,
A trick.
and they came to him. And like 30 years after the war, his rifle was still perfectly clean. He still had all the grenades, everything. His uniform was polished and everything. And he'd stay. And so he said, I was given my orders, and I'm not going to stop until a general in the Japanese army, and they had to fly a general from Japan, who came ceremonially, said, look, the war's over.
You say it like it's impressive. He was a nutter.
I mean, talk
He
about a job's
wasted
worth.
decades of his life.
Man, and he was annoyed when he got back.
Oh, I
apparently.
would be
can you imagine?
massively annoyed.
He was sort of hailed as a hero, but also he was like, no, he's a nutter.
They could have come for me 1 year
You're
after.
freaking kidding me. You guys owe me you overtime. Time and a half.
But yeah,
crazy, isn't it?
so Japan and Italy.
So did Japan fucking come over here for that? Long way, innit?
No, not here.
This is in
so
the
the
Far
war.
East.
So like there was. Have you heard of?
The rest of the world.
No. What's the
was the Pacific.
in America? What was the bay which was bombed?
Oh, you mean
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl
Have you heard
Harbor?
of Pearl Harbor?
It's a film, isn't it?
Well, it's a film about Japan bombing a harbor in America.
Right.
So like they didn't bomb the UK, but they bombed some of that. You know what I mean? Like they were those on those sides, there were those on those sides, and everyone was fighting to whoever's closest.
Right, okay.
Yeah, out in
Yeah.
the Pacific, you had, and a lot of Australians were on the Allied side fighting, and it was all kicking off. But basically, it
But
ended a few
VE
months
Day is to commemorate the day when there was victory in Europe. Yeah.
Nice.
Now the more exciting ones.
That's what was happening in London, no then.
One of the VA days, because it means different things.
Hang on, what does A stand for?
Well, this is so VE we've done Victory in Europe.
Victory in Europe.
VA, the V is something you love a lot.
Vagina.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
All right.
And so Vaginal Appreciation Day.
Oh, it says not completely.
is
Nothing
April-
to do with the war.
No, well, no, it's the war of the sexes. It's an ongoing war. It's a day, well, actually, it's a day when generally women appreciate their own vaginas, but I think also as fans we can appreciate them too. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
You a big fan?
Big fan.
Or literally, his wife throws something at the screen.
Have you ever thought you might be gay?
What?
You think? No, I've never. No. You
Fair
think,
That's
have
something you know.
thought- This is a great moment, right?
This is really interesting. Have you wondered?
Yeah, I've wondered. Yeah,
Really?
I went to a
Is it-
boarding school.
Was it that time me and you spooned for the?
that men's retreat.
But wait, so you went? I went to a boarding school too, but there was like dodgy bullying and stuff, but I never was like.
Oh no, a lot of it.
But normally, if you think
gayness.
someone might be gay,
Oh,
there's
wow.
normally something about the way. Is it the way the mannerism or the lifestyle or something like that? What? Because you've not thought he might be gay.
I spoke to him when I spoke
Oh,
to
you've
you.
asked, so you think
We've been
every
through
man
this.
potentially might be gay?
Yeah, I reckon.
Oh, that's very egalitarian of you then.
You're
What
very,
does that mean?
You're very modern. You're very modern. You
Am
because
I?
I'll tell you what's the interesting thing. I feel like younger people are more liberated in the idea of there's a sexual spectrum.
No, it's more just I think every man in his life goes. Am I? Nah.
To be fair, Dom,
I think goes on with his
I
life.
appreciate you asking. I'm not, but if I was, I'm not entirely sure I would use this moment to come out anyway. Really, but maybe futile asking.
I
that
have
now.
thought my life would be simpler if I was. You know what I mean? Like when you listen to gay men, they have such simple relationships. Like there's none of the courtship. It's just like, hey, do you wanna? Yeah, okay, let's go. It seems so simple.
But then I reckon if you said that to a girl, they'd slap you in the face.
exactly
So,
my
no,
point.
there would be some. Yeah, I've had that. You want it? And they go, all right.
Yeah, but
But you've got to be somewhere where
you've
you're
got to
both
be some.
fucked up.
They've got to have low moral standards, or you're in Ibiza or something like
I was
that.
in Cavos. That happened quite a lot in
Yeah.
Cavos.
But it's like people have gone there for that. But I'm saying like approaching someone in a bar or a nightclub. Women, you've got to chat to
20
them.
minutes.
20 minutes.
Minimum.
Do your thing and be flirty and be interesting. There's a whole chase,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Talk to Larry Dean or any of the gay comedians about how they pick up. And it's just so direct. It's
But-
just
Yeah.
I think maybe it was the boarding school that made me be more open to that. Okay. There was a lot of gayness going. Sometimes we masturbate in groups.
really.
Yep.
Wow.
Like, well, I had an idea.
Did you have to eat the
Well,
cookie?
Oh, did I tell you about this? Yeah.
No, I know.
Oh,
about
right.
The cookie. Did you have to eat?
No,
the
there's
cookie?
this thing where this is really bad,
It's
and I want
called
to
soggy
clarify.
biscuit.
We did want this
To be-
podcast to be an educational,
I mean, literally,
culturally.
we were
but we're
talking
gonna do
about
it
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
I've got it
and
about
now-
to where I want
And
it.
now I know where this is going, but carry on. I'm not going to stop it. I'm just saying,
Carry on.
just as a little aside, we wanted this to raise the cultural expectation of the world and add to the. But tell me about your cookie.
Can you imagine someone's brought their kid to listen because they're like, oh, an episode about.
Here, Johnny. This is you'll learn about VE Day. This one, it suddenly took a dark turn.
When I first started boarding, I thought, well, I was like 14. I need to masturbate, right? So I thought, I'm going to wait till. But actually, let me tell you this. So in my school, we had a teacher that would walk through all the dorm rooms to make sure everyone's asleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then and then they go to sleep. So he'd gone to sleep, and then it was like 11 p.m. I thought, right, everyone's asleep. It's just my time to do my business.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone else had the same idea, and we were just in some group synchronized masturbation.
Okay. Did you ever do the soggy biscuit thing?
No, but one guy, some guy gave another guy biscuits to suck his dick.
God, that's an even worse version.
What kind of biscuits?
Or Oreos.
Oreos. I understand.
Oreos.
High class biscuit.
You're not going to do that for Bourbons, are you? Right.
Not Krispy Kremes, whatever they're called.
I went to boarding school, but clearly our knockoff version was not the pure British version. It was there was bullying, and there were some bullies who were taking advantage of people, which was horrible. But there was never any like, oh, here's a cookie, give me a
What biscuits?
Very
good.
The third one,
So third one.
VA. We've done VA.
VEV.
I mean, you didn't really tell me about. So it's just a day where women appreciate their vaginas, is
It's
it?
like,
Yeah.
there is like sort of days for everything now, isn't it? So they've gone, right, okay, this is...
Is there a
this is-
penis
No,
day?
no, but the reason why you need a VA day is because for a long time, society made women ashamed of vaginas.
Really?
Yeah. There's societies where when they're having a period,
Who's doing that?
They're made to be. This is history. This is
Who
everywhere.
who's hates what is this?
No, but it's like people would consider it dirty. I'm not saying right now, but things like when women are periods because they're bleeding, they would be put in a place where they're not allowed to see anybody. There was a lot of superstition around it. It was a lot of things why women were made to feel ashamed of their vaginas. So Vaginal Appreciation Day is like, no, there's nothing wrong with my vagina. My vagina is amazing. I'm going to give my vagina a name. I'm going to, literally, there's a
Give it
play
some
called The
Oreos.
Vagina Monologues where women talk
Really?
about their vaginas. Their vaginas don't talk. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, but there's a whole history. It's actually, again, it's really lovely that you don't know this, actually, because that means you've grown up in a time when vaginas don't have the stigmas, which they used to.
Well, although you say that, there was when I was in school, so this would have been about 11, it would have been 14, about 11 years ago. There was a girl that came out as bisexual,
Yes.
and everyone gave her loads of shit. But now that's pretty normal, isn't it?
Pretty normal.
So-
So there's always
Times
always
have
things-
changed.
I think there's always incremental change forward, but there's also change backward.
Whereas now, I think if you're not bisexual, why not? Why wouldn't you be if you're a woman? That I have nothing to back that statement up.
We have nothing to back that statement up. Nothing to back that statement up.
I love it. Let's get on to number 3 then. Go on.
Number
Day
3,
3.
Veterans Day. Can you guess this one just from the name, Veterans Day?
Do you know what a veteran is?
A day for the veterans,
But what
Yeah.
is it? What is a veteran?
soldiers.
Yes. So you see, the way that VE Day is just victory in Europe,
Yeah,
Veterans Day is veterans of all the wars,
yeah.
right, including recent wars. So in America, it's veterans of Vietnam. UK, it's veterans of Afghanistan, of Falklands or whatever. So it's just all veterans who have lived through war. Well, actually, it's a very Western holiday, but I'm just saying it's veterans.
Right, okay.
So those are the 3 V's,
That's it, is it?
Yeah.
and that's Churchill's V.
Well, that's us done.
It's done.
It's only half an hour.
Well, we have a backup.
Well, do you know part of that? And quick fact for you: why that was a swear word? Agincourt.
What?
Because it's all to do with
Vaginas?
Archers would show their fingers because they could pull back the bow and say, "I'm my
So
finger
what's
chopped
this
off."
one for?
I'll tell you the truth. That's actually a myth.
Is it a myth?
That's a myth.
Ooh.
I only know this because I did the V episode of QI.
Oh, tell me more.
And so this
brilliant.
was the idea was that they'll chop their fingers off
Yeah,
to say
off-
that
off Longbowmen.
Off Longbowmen. That's
In-
it's like just an urban myth. That wasn't why
They wouldn't chop it; they just kill them.
they'll just kill them. No, but it wasn't what they would do exactly. It's just one of those stories. But it's a nice story.
It's a nice story, isn't it?
Yes. I just just in case Sandy Toxic listening to be like,
She's like, yeah.
he didn't remember.
You're her version of Dom. She's like, I've told you this already, Deliso. Yeah, so we've got another. Have we got time for the next one, or do we just close this one?
How
and
long do you
another-
have?
I've got. What time is it? Yeah, I've got some time. Although I've got one thing that happened to me. So I was on a date with a lady, and she asked me if I was a feminist, right? And I said no. I said I'm not.
Interesting.
I don't do feminist. Like I like women. I don't do feminist stuff. And she goes, "Oh, so do you not think men and women should have equal rights?" And I went, "Yeah, of course. I think I'm not an idiot, I'm not a monster."
Yeah.
And I went, "Yeah, of course, but that doesn't make me a feminist." And she goes, "That is the
That is
definition of
exactly what a
feminism."
feminism
And I went, "I don't think I know what feminism is." And then she said, "Probably shouldn't leave this." That was the end of that.
And you went, you have equal rights to
Equal rights to leave. Yeah.
leave, as do I.
So I think if if you ever out of a lady and she's not enjoying it, just go, "I'm not a feminist. I don't know what feminism is," and she'll go, "Right." See you in a bit.
I've actually thought of how we should wrap this episode also. So we've talked about vaginas being appreciated on a certain day, victory over Europe being appreciated on a certain day, and veterans being appreciated. If you could create something, a day of appreciation of something, what would it be? If
Ice
we're
cream.
Like, tomorrow's gonna be, so you're gonna have Ice Cream Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
You're gonna have.
Oh, do you know what I like?
Oh, you're
I-
gonna
I
choose
think
something really
peop-
important and
no,
meaningful.
no, it's not. It's not going to be profound. It's
Ice cream's important.
It
It is important.
Generally, anyone that puts love and attention into what they do, like as in like really is does it with something hard, like, because the opposite is when, particularly if it's in like, say like you're a cafe. Have you ever sit when someone the other day had this coffee and they put a little freaking little flower pattern in it? Didn't need to. And I was like, why does that matter to me? Because it doesn't matter. I was about to destroy the flower pattern, but you put love and intention.
You know, in my faith, that's a prayer. Anything you put all your heart into, it's a prayer.
Tony's switching.
Everything you've got. I'm starting to cry now. This is beautiful.
So that's it. Mine is, I think.
Vaginas.
No, actually, I've already done vaginas.
You've done vagina. I thought it'd be fun.
I would have a day for apologies.
Oh yeah.
Apologies days. 'Cause it's so hard to
International
apologize.
Apology Day. Yeah.
Did you think?
It's so hard to apologize and mean it. People just say it, right? But to say it and mean it,
That is really good.
I'd give it a
Apology opens up a day. Or could it even be?
I mean, to
opened
be
up-
fair, Yom
Yeah.
Kippur is sort of apology day, but
Yeah.
What?
a Jewish holiday which is about, well, not they wouldn't say apology, but taking responsibility.
So if there was a National Apology Day and you took it, would there be someone you'd go? Is there anyone that pops to mind where you think I need to apologise to that person?
No, I've been pretty good with it ever since I realized it was important. But in my younger years, there were loads of people I should have apologized to and I didn't.
Yeah.
But I think as you get older, not everybody, but I think as I've got older, when I do something wrong, I will apologize.
I heard a cool thing. My wife Claire teaches on this thing called More to Life, right? And one of the they do these different exercises. And one of them is like what's called a forgiveness exercise, right? And I thought this was quite cool. The idea that sometimes to totally forgive somebody is very difficult.
Yes.
But what you can do, so even if the person hasn't apologized, but sometimes like if you feel resentment towards someone, it can actually kind of hold you. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of energy that goes into that. So even if you can't go, I fully forgive you. They do this thing where they say, and it's a different kind of wording, but I quite like it. And you might say, right, and you say the name of the person. Imagine them there, and you say, I now choose to hold no ill will against you. So it's not a full like totally forgive you, but it's like I choose not to hold any ill will against you. And I thought that's pretty cool.
It's pretty good.
It's interesting. I don't know if there's any apologies. There's one I'd like to give, but I don't know if I deserve any.
What about all the people you bullied?
Huh?
No. Okay.
Would you really?
I think that was part of it. I think I genuinely I can't remember. It was just that lady.
Oh, that's true.
Really.
It doesn't mean much to you
It was pretty insignificant.
when you're doing it.
And I wasn't the frontman of it.
Yeah.
It was more. It wasn't even more bullying. It was more we would just disrupt lessons.
Yeah.
And ruin everyone else's education. But they got a lot of humour out of it. So if anything,
Were they laughing?
no. I was.
Good. You've changed.
I felt really bad. I wanted to apologize to someone last week. I'm doing a confession now.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. I really and if they are listening, they won't be listening, but if they are, somehow this apology can go out to them.
Why couldn't
I was
you?
I was out in Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt last Wednesday.
Oh, there.
And I thought I'm getting the flight home in the evening, and during that I thought I want to just go in from the hotel, go into the town, and there's a cathedral in there called the Heavenly Cathedral. So just wanted to go and have a look at that, have a look around, come back, and I go and I find a taxi, and I got a load of money out of the ATM. I didn't really know the conversion rate or anything, right? And this guy is asleep. It's about midday. He's asleep in a taxi, just in this kind of like
Homeless guy.
No, he's a taxi driver.
Oh, right.
He's having a sleep. It's like midday. It's baking hot. This is Egypt out in the desert, right? So I knock on and I go, "Hey mate, can I get a?" And he goes, "Oh," and he doesn't speak any English, right? And I thought I'm going to go for a local taxi because these are the cheap taxis,
Right.
So he's like. I said, I want to go. I have my phone. I want to go here, this cathedral in town. It's a 15-minute ride into town. Can I go here? Right? Can I? And he goes, he doesn't speak any English, right? And he goes, wait. And we tried translating Google Translate. It wasn't happening, right? So he rang someone, and then this guy was on, hello. I said, hi, I'm just in your mate's taxi, and I just want him to take me to this place, the Heavenly Cathedral in Sham. And the guy goes, oh, okay, you want to go? Okay. I tell him, yes, go. And 15, what is it? $1,500 Egyptian dollars, or 1,500. Let's say 1,500 Egyptian dollars. I was like, yeah, cool, that's cool. And it's had like a big wodge of him, right? And then he goes, okay, go. And then I sat in the taxi, and I was like, and then I started to do like the conversion, right? I was like, flipping heck, right? It was really close, and it was like. Now, it doesn't sound a lot, but it was like, what is it? Is it 1,500 or 1,500? Anyway, it turned out I was paying about 30 quid to get there.
Okay.
And he goes, he will stay there and bring you back. Okay. And I was like, 30 something quid. And I was like, flipping out. I thought I was going to pay a couple of quid because it was quite close. Anyway, he got me there. And I said, I'll be 90. So it was like 2 o'clock, he dropped me off. And then I got in, like 3:30 we go back. 3:30. Okay. So this is 1,500 Egyptian dollars, about 30 quid. Right, okay, great. And I goes, okay. And then I was in there. I wasn't in there as long as I wanted to be. I kind of was in there. I got out just before 3, maybe like 2:45, and he's not there.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay, but I'm thinking I've got to wait another 40 minutes for this guy to take me back to the hotel. And I just want to go back to the hotel. So anyway, and he'd taken my number. I'd taken him to a number, and he'd taken my number. Anyway, this other taxi turns up. Right, just goes, beep, 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 and I'm like, what? And I go, sorry, and he goes, I give you a lift, my friend. I was like, no, I'm actually waiting I've got a taxi taking me back. And he goes, no, I give you a lift, please. And I was like, no. And I said, no, I don't want to. I'm taking someone back. He goes, come. I said, he goes, where are you going? I'm going to Coral Sea. He goes, and I goes, how much is that? He goes, 250 Egyptian dollar, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, hold up a minute.
You don't need to apologize. That guy was trying to rip you off.
And I was like, but I still felt bad. And I was like, no, I've got to wait.
No, I've switched sides.
I've got to wait for someone. And he goes, no, Lord, you want Lord? I do Lord. I was like, how much? It was $200. So this guy took me back for 200 Egyptian dollars. And so that would have been, obviously there and back would have been 400, and I'd been charged 1,500. And I was trying to text this guy, and the phone didn't work, and he'd given me the wrong number.
Apology withdrawn. No, apology withdrawn. You were an instrument of karma. Because he tried to rip off the foreigner.
Do you still feel bad about it now?
He has been punished.
I felt bad because
he has been punished.
If I look at it, he'd obviously way overcharged, and he must have been feeling great. Yeah. He must have been feeling like that was fantastic.
But that's it. He has
5 times more, 6 times more than the locals.
Yeah.
The universe has shown him.
He took my number, and I've called his, but it didn't work, and I tried to send him a message, and I couldn't get it. So I feel bad.
No apology messages.
I feel great. You got a free taxi ride.
Please.
No, I think he deserves it. I think if you're watching, you deserve it for ripping off the foreigner.
Well, it's good to have my Malawian friend.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
that's a good end.
This is very good night.
Good night.
They might probably listening at night.
Probably. Yeah.
Good night. Good morning. Good day. Night. How do you not know this? Follow us. Subscribe. Tell people. Listen with your family. Maybe not your kids, but listen.
We'll have guests next week.
We'll have guests because I'm on a boat.
I'm
on a boat next week.
All right. See you in a bit.